No problem to be solved, no, no, no. A gift to be enjoyed. Living single and
We're going to get into our second question now and provide you with what we believe is a biblical answer to a situation that confronts single adults. In fact, this situation most recently confronted us, and we were seeking God as to the best godly wisdom, biblical wisdom to give the people involved. And it's they're dating a woman 15 years younger. A guy is dating a woman 15 years younger than himself. But besides the age, he says the relationship is really great. And they both love God and believe in the vision that God has for them. And in particular, the woman feels called to support the vision of this guy. They want to marry, but they really are, at the end of the day, concerned about the age difference. And so this guy is saying, does the age, at the end of the day, does the age matter? And if they do decide to marry, what type of problems, he's asking up front, what kind of problems do you think that we can anticipate?
Right.
And how can we prepare our marriage for them, knowing that this is the road that is going to be ahead of us
Right.
because of the age difference?
Right.
What do you say to
Well,
this?
there is no biblical rule regarding, how old to marry. All we know, we read the Bible, we see Joseph and Mary, we see Boaz and Ruth and all those stuff. There may be a case where they are older. But
Yeah, I think Boaz was quite a bit older than Ruth, but I
Right,
don't know that the
right.
scripture actually
identify
identifies
the
the age
Right.
gap. Yeah.
Now, I would say that the best course of action is to pray to God and ask for wisdom concerning this. But I'm going to share what I really believe can happen. Now, I believe that the bigger question when it comes to marriage is it the will of God? Okay, I understand the age. Is it the will of God? God is bigger than age, is bigger than anything we can ever talk about.
absolutely is.
So prayer is important. So now, but there are some challenges that I just want to point. We can go through this one by one. I was putting this together yesterday. Where you have a 15 years gap
Difference, yeah.
difference. Now, both of them are going to be on different biological timetable in terms of having kids, raising children, time for children, and the sex drive and different type of things going to be different. So those can create a lot of problems. And also, I kind of
I just want to break that down and make
Right.
sure they got that, because I think that is when he asked the question, what types of problems can we anticipate? I
Right.
think that's going to be a problem you should anticipate.
Yeah.
Is that physically you both are going to be at different stages
different stages of
in life,
of,
and
of biological,
and you're going to be going, the man may be going into a male slowdown, and she could be in her prime.
yeah.
And how do you
Reconcile that?
how do you reconcile that?
Yeah.
Knowing that's what could happen.
Right. And then raising children and how they're going to do that. Also, there's a fertility issue after, I don't know, women or men has reached a particular age. Maybe one of them has already established a career, but the partner is still living with his parents or with her parents.
Yeah.
So there's
and
a
they
maturity
are
issue
yeah,
there.
and so we don't know that. We don't
Yeah.
know if this is a 40-year-old woman and because I think a lot has to do with a 40-year-old woman and a 55-year-old man.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
they can work that out, because
Right.
they're both hitting their midlife, and one's in early midlife and the other is in late midlife. But if one is 20
And the other one is 40.
Yeah, or 35.
Right.
Then that's when life starts to, you know, a
Last-
20-year-old. I think of a
last time.
20-year-old. Yeah, I think of a
Right.
20-year-old, and I think of a 35-year-old.
Yeah.
I think of a big difference. I think of a
Right.
20-year-old as, you know, free loving, fun, take it as
Exactly.
it comes.
Is a 20-year-old ready to start to raise a family?
Yeah.
Is he ready to settle down? Is that what I mean? 20-year-old, is he ready to settle
And they
down?
could be, and they could not be. Those are the tough questions they got to ask.
Exactly. That's some of the questions, because in terms of maturity, will a 20-year-old be able to understand the need of a 35-year-old, 40-year-old man?
Yes.
And how to meet that need? We should be mature enough to understand the need. We should be able to know her roles as a wife at a 20-something year. So those are some of the questions that need to be asked.
Yeah.
And a 15-year gap difference is a lot. And as I've said, there are a lot of issues that need to be solved here. But the bottom line is that do both of them understand how to seek God, you know, to resolve those issues. And they have to sit down and anticipate in 10, 15 years' time how everything's going to look like.
Yeah.
Okay? Somewhere along the line, with that without age gap differences, we never know what can happen.
Yeah.
One of them may ultimately become a caretaker for the other one. Who knows?
Yeah.
know.
And but that could happen even
Yeah.
in a smaller age thing. But I think one of the good pieces of advice that we're giving them here is to sit down and count the cost. The
Right.
scripture says that.
Right.
That count the cost
Yeah.
to see if you should build this, a relationship, this tower or not. And both be honest. This is where I'm at 20. This is where I'm at 35, or whatever the ages are. We don't know, 40, 55, whatever. This is what I'm looking for out of life. And they
Right.
can say, this is what I'm looking for out of life. And kind of just, you know, as much as you can project your future, then look just practically at physiological changes that happen to us
Right.
within those
Right,
time frames.
right. Which is
And-
exactly, they got to think ahead, because things may be good right now, because things are good. 20-year-old, everything is fine. But 10 years time, down the road, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's something that is very important. They talk about before they get into the marriage,
Yeah.
to continue with the relationship.
And yet, at the end of the day, marriage is about roles and responsibilities more than age.
Right, right. I guess, yeah, it is, and that's the problem. Will a 20-year-old girl be willing to settle to those roles at 20 years?
Which is,
You know,
yeah.
right. And
Because
we're
her
ready-
responsibility is to submit to her husband as unto
Right.
the Lord, and to
Right.
respect him,
Right,
whether she's 20 or 200.
Right.
That responsibility of a wife, that's the responsibility of a wife. And the responsibility of a husband, whether he's 40 or 400, is to love his wife as Christ loves the church.
Right,
And then
right.
they have to submit one to another.
Right.
So those roles and responsibilities don't change.
don't change, but the acceptance, you got to reach a mature level to be able to accept those roles. A 20-year-old is just a college student, okay? And with this culture, it is not, submission will be foreign to him or to her, even though it's a role.
You could be.
Right.
That's a strong possibility. It
Right,
could
right,
be.
right.
She
Because
could be more
just-
mature for her age.
Exactly. Just the culture.
Yes.
Just, you know. Also, another area is that, okay, how will her friend will be 20-year-old friends too, right?
Yeah.
How will he feel comfortable? Will he feel comfortable in the
Hanging out with the
presence of 20-year-old?
If that's what we're talking about, 20
Right.
and 35.
Right,
yeah,
20 or
yeah.
35. You know, her friends will be 20-year-old. They think that they're going to be taking her life. They're
Yeah,
gonna be
they
taking
wanna
her
hang
life.
out,
How
go
will a
to-
35-year-old feel in the midst of a 20-year-old? You know,
Yeah.
so those are, because ultimately if they marry, those friends will be half his friend.
Yeah.
So there are
A lot of things
to consider.
So we're not saying that it can't be
can't
done,
be
but
done.
it should be done prayerfully,
Prayerfully,
wisely,
right.
really
Really
counting
thinking-
the costs
right,
and examining.
Right.
Anything-
So
yeah,
it can be done,
yeah.
but it takes sitting down. Okay, you know how things is gonna happen in 10 years time. Where are we gonna be?
Yeah.
You know, they got to think ahead of that. You know.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
what I'm
and
talking about.
and they can't. And what happens, and I hope this is not what's happening to you, is sometimes the two of them get caught up in the emotion of the relationship,
Right,
and
right now.
yeah, and how good you make
Right,
me feel, and
right,
how happy
right.
I am now that you're in my life,
right, right.
and
And-
they don't project. They don't. They live in the moment,
Right.
and they don't count the cost.
Another issue though is what will make a 20-year-old fall for a 35-year-old.
Ah,
I question
Ooh.
the motive. Is it because of money? Is it because of loss? You know,
is she looking for a
or
father?
they're looking for a father. So we don't know. We don't know all those things. What we, you know, and why was the 35-year-old still single?
Why is he? Yeah, or why? What in him is going on that would make him interested
In a
in?
20-year-old.
Yeah,
So we
a
don't
lot
know.
of yeah, a lot of tough questions to ask one another.
Right.
Don't get caught up in the moment.
Right.
And I probably would encourage you to seek some wise counsel to
counseling,
get them
right.
involved
Yeah.
in helping you
Right.
to, not that it can't be,
It can
but
be.
wise counsel to help you sift through all the possible
Right,
issues.
and be frank with you, or the probability of what can happen in 10, 15, 20 years time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.